what actually is meditation? I know you also use the word interchangeably with prayer, but what, I mean, even what do you think you're doing, or what is happening to you, or this is very practical question. I thought might be a good one to start with.
Indeed, Mark, because the word has become incredibly confusing, hasn't it? Over 60 years ago, when I first heard of and found someone to teach me to meditate in England, it was a relatively unknown thing, largely associated with Eastern practices. And now it's on everybody's lips, isn't it? And 1.5 million people on internet professing to teach and talk about it and do all sorts of things with it. So it's become very confusing. I hardly know what people are talking about now when they mention meditation. It comes in so many guises. So, okay, let's try to take it back to something very simple. I've just had rather a talkative lunchtime. And I often reach a point where I've just had enough. I just want to step outside the house where we were having lunch. Just felt my feet on the gravel. It's been raining, damp in the air. Just looked at some of the autumn plants. Walked slowly along the wall, looked at the damp stones in the wall. The damp cobbles, the moss grey. I picked up a leaf on the path. I thought it was a bit of plastic. I thought I'd take it home, but actually it wasn't plastic. It was a bit of leaf, so I put it back on the ground. Then just outside where I live, there's a bit of grass. I love grass. I just stepped onto the grass. I just felt my love for grass. I feel so comfortable with grass, whereas I don't usually feel comfortable with talking. Felt at home with grass. I was, by the way, a farmer. I don't know if you knew that, so I've lived my life with grass. I'm interested in grass. That grass was like balm to my soul. Immediately brought me to rest, feeling of where I belong. Well, is that meditation? I suggest it is. Is meditation a sort of process of moving from this rather tight sort of, both your own thoughts and other people, somehow relaxing into that? There's such a lot of talk about various forms of relaxing these days, yoga and all sorts of things like that. Well, what is meditation if not bringing relaxation to the mind? And even wider, deeper relaxation than one can achieve with the physical body. So perhaps as a preliminary to that sort of thing, is there really any better meditation than just to stop talking? Just to stop talking. So many people live in an atmosphere of almost perpetual talk. goes long past the necessary few words required to say what's needed in most situations. What is taught most 99% is just advertising our separate existence, isn't it? I find just the relief of going from talk to no talk. One of the most useful things we can do. But then, I'm one of those men that loves silence. Some people are driven crazy by silence. They can't bear it, can they? So, what suits one doesn't suit others. Anyway, that's meditation for me. And then there's a multitude of other practices, associated practices, which perhaps may introduce even deeper levels of relaxation. Because there are levels of everything, aren't there? Levels of depth, levels of the appreciation of beauty, levels of stillness, levels of relaxation. We don't normally appreciate how we normally find so much of that. It probably seems a lot to us, but we don't always realize that the infinite possibilities. I mean, just sitting here, we can look out the window at a now familiar landscape. It can seem homely and reassuring to us. And look at the sky, clouds. Look at that bird flying across the window. The beauty of a bird, the bare twigs of a tree against the autumn sky. I could spend all day just entering ever more deeply into the beauty of that scene, couldn't one? Where does it end? Sorry, my dear, I tend to waffle on once I get onto a subject. You asked me about meditation. Pull me back to the question and what more you want me to come up with.
One thing I'm taking from where you've begun in response to my question is it's a natural thing, both as in nature perhaps led human beings first to the idea of meditation, but also this relaxation opens up something that's natural in us as well.
It absolutely, it's as natural as breathing. It really is. It's as natural as going outside for a breath of fresh air. It's as natural as just when you've had enough talking, just being quiet. It's supernatural, literally supernatural.
So just supernatural meaning?
Well, what does it mean? That's a question I can ask you. But you see how closely the supernatural is interwoven with what we might call the natural. Yes, of course, it's as natural as natural could be. And in this modern age, you see, we've just become unnatural, haven't we? So that's one way of direction, one way of you could introduce the subject. It's a move from the unnatural to the natural. And of course, and that has a lot to do with being present, because a feature of talking is that it really always takes us away from actually being present. A lot of people wouldn't know what I'm talking about when I talk about being present, because it's something that's hardly recognized in so much of contemporary life, where we live perpetually in a sort of conceptual life of past and future, or ideas in the mind, and hardly ever just feel the ground beneath our feet. use the common sense of just listening and looking. But isn't it just to look like I was talking about the view outside the window? We have to look at it, don't we? And if you look at it, then it opens up and opens up. But usually we just look at, oh, autumn day, cold, miserable weather, turn back to something, the book or the telly or something more interesting, or so you think is more interesting. Well, some people, some of the time it may be. Yeah, I've been meditating for nearly 63 years now. It's never once been the same. It's one of the remarkable things about meditation, isn't it? That when you turn away from all the infinite variability of this world and turn towards this greater reality. No, that's sort of going too far ahead, isn't it? Just coming to the present, just standing on the grass, for example. Sorry, I'm wandering off the point, or I'm getting a bit lost.
I mean, so that's interesting. That's given me another sense of presence, which is that being with other presences, like the presence of the grass or the presence of the sky, the presence of the trees, reminds oneself of presence as well.
Yes, I agree with you. It does. It does. It does. You just go outside and just look at a tree. It can be a most remarkable experience. Extraordinary how, when the mind is open, you just look and listen to that tree. How much can flow between you? It is amazing, isn't it? The simplest things. You know, you're sitting in this chair next to me, but if my mind, just beyond you, a few feet beyond, there's a corner of the room, and there's the fluting of the wood of the skirting board, and then a bit higher up there's another line of fluting. The colours change. There's a bit of dark shadow there below the light. I don't actually see any cobwebs or spiders there, but there's so much just in that simple feature of the room. I can look at that. It becomes glorious. Extraordinary, isn't it? What's there to be seen? If we have the eyes to see. What is meditation? Using your common sense. Just listening, just looking. And behold, the glory is revealed.
So is that like saying that this quality of attention to the presence of something else is not just, as it were, registering the details, although that is happening when you see, but is moving into a relationship where you become conscious of something other than yourself, but that is with you, and the very sense of that is quite remarkable.
You hit the nail on the head, Mark. It's absolutely right. You see, the quality of attention. What is attention? I'm not sure that I can actually define it. I'm not sure. I think like so many things in life, once you really start attending them, you're not sure you know what it is. But let's just say it's narrow it down to just looking. It is extraordinary that the more you look, the more you see, isn't it? And just looking at the corner there, I mean, I've lived in this room for some weeks now, and I've not noticed it before. And just because I'm noticing it now, suddenly I see what I hadn't seen before. Well, this is normal in life, that we go through life with these eyes and ears and things, but really hardly use them to a fraction of their potential. Yes, attention is that's one of the key things about meditation, is that you pay attention to whatever it is you're doing, either just daily functions in this world, or if you're turning inwardly with a mantra or some sort of prayer. If you do it just robotically, as we usually do these things, just repeating them. I mean, think how many people just rattle off Our Father which art in heaven, hardly don't see what they're saying. It's just a mechanical repetition, isn't it? But even if we could say it with full attention, which we probably are hardly able to do, but if we could, we might be amazed at what comes out of it. And so it is that the basic practices of meditation, whether they focus on a mantra or breathing or whatever, the key is to do it attentively. If you do it attentively, it's so compelling in its attraction, the mind is simply loses interest in all other things. So these, for all intents and purposes, fade out of the picture. You just forget about them. The bothersome mind, with all its associated troubles, is not got rid of. You just forget about it, and you turn to something that's more attractive. So you just simply are taken out of the problem, taken out of what had been such a bother to you up to that point, and open to greater possibilities. That is the key to liberation. It's nothing to do with outer circumstances, it's to do with what comes back to attention.
Perhaps I can put an inflection upon attention that I think can confuse me, which is that I hear the word attention and imagine myself perhaps to be a bit like a camera that has to sort of get the focus right, get the exposure right, get the angle right, somehow do something to myself. And then that can feel elusive or complicated, or but it's not really about that at all.
No, this is so much a feature of today's life, isn't it? That we have to sort of analyze it, figure it out, do something with it. Yes, in some way utilize it. No, attention is as natural as just being interested in something, or even better if you love something. You naturally give more attention to it, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yes, so that for me, maybe a way of putting that would be like, it feels like it's actually almost a stepping out of yourself, rather than being bothered with yourself. That the sense of love helps me there, because it's wanting to be in a shared space with that which you're attending to, which you would do with a lover or with a child or with a beautiful picture or with a scene.
Well, or you could put it, you just forget to be separate.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure I can. From somewhere from my distant past, My mind's prompted to remember what it's like in a cow shed, stroking or grooming a cow, and the pleasure of feeling that intimate contact between my hand and the warm animal, and completely forgetting about myself. I think in my love for what I was doing, like when I was sitting on the grass that I was just describing. I don't think I had any awareness at all of myself. I was just happy to be there. I think this happens. I'm not one of those that sort of goes on much about the self. It's not really in my vocabulary, that. And I think it's totally natural to forget about yourself. Totally natural. I was lucky as a farmer. I loved my work. I think I just completely lost myself. I still do for long periods. I was out walking through the park. I was looking at sheep this morning. I love sheep. And yes, there was a particular sheep. We were just looking at each other. Where was I? I dissolved away. I don't know that I even existed at that time. I'm not sure that we, I better say I better be careful what I say, hadn't I? Including other people. But there are times when I hardly know if I exist or not as a separate person.
There's a sense of that even as we talk, because
Yes.
talking is a shared activity, and it requires your attention, but it's giving to the field in between us almost.
Exactly, dear. We've both forgotten ourselves.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's easy, isn't it? Completely easy and a natural, comfortable flow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, marvellous, isn't it? I've even forgotten what I said about don't like talking. I've enjoyed talking to you.
Well, yes, because I suppose that it's a different quality.
Yeah.
But maybe can I just ask you as well? You've now so mantras and the breath and so on. You've just intimated that a little bit. Maybe that adds in another
Yes.
element, because again, I think when I first heard about breath or about mantras, I don't know what I thought really, but it's almost again I've got to sort of breathe in the right way, or say the word or the name or the mantra in the right way, and whereas what I'm sensing from what you're saying is it's more like the breath or a mantra becomes a presence that's within you, but it opens up that field again to become one with, to become lost with. I mean, I do use the name Jesus as a mantra, and I suppose there's different ways in which that word works. One might just be something to put into my mind while my mind sort of calms down. I have a thought and say, no, I'll use the word Jesus instead. So I go back to that and I say it with a rhythm of breathing, roughly to use the out breath on the word Zus. It has the right quality of relaxation. But then I'll go for another phase where the word itself becomes like a presence, and I can have a phase where I might feel more intrigued or absorbed by the presence. So that's the beginning of a taking out of myself, I suppose. And then the word might become almost superfluous and at least momentarily a different kind of flow that's actually really a silent flow can happen as well. So that's just one example, I suppose. I mean, people use lots of different names, different mantras, different breathing, like you're saying. But does that at least connect with what you're talking about?
Absolutely, Mark. I apologise. I went off on a rather a new sort of exposition when we started this conversation. But yes, especially for the sake of those who might be listening to this, yes, I was taught, very correctly taught, through a traditional initiation ceremony as a young man of 26. And I was told, I was given a particular mantra and told I must pronounce it in a certain way. And I was given very precise instructions, which I duly tried to obey. And what you just described, the various stages, of course, took many. Well, I can't quite remember precisely how long it took, but anyway, several years. Until I suppose I became a bit more relaxed with the practice. And yes, I suppose it seemed quite also uncomfortable to me when I first started, but I was so keen to learn that I'd have done anything, including having to go down to London to have my weekly, what they called check, to see I was doing it correctly. But it did seem to work almost immediately. I remember the very first time I practiced in St Pancras Station waiting room, late at night, waiting to get the late night train back to my farm for the morning. And I was newly back from South America, where I'd been in love with the great mountains there. And there in that dingy waiting room in St Pancras Station, it opened up. I thought, wow, the wide open spaces that I love are, I don't have to go to South America or Australia. They're here within me. That was one hell of a discovery. Yeah, that put the bit between my teeth. Of course, it isn't always like that. I can't remember when I had another experience like that. Although now, many years later, it's fairly commonplace. But yes, I struggled a long time too with the confusion between my breath and the mantra. Was I saying it correctly? Oh dear, it all sounds rather complicated looking back, but see, now I talk about it with completely natural flow and hardly any instructions about it. And I remember also the excitement of being told to pay attention, and I realised what it was like to sit in a train and just watch people and be aware of the silence, in which the people were moving around like sort of puppets within this silence that is ever present. That was a huge discovery for me. Thrilling, really. Absolutely thrilling. And standing in the streets of London and just being still. My God. I found it terribly exciting, really. The adventure never ends. Talk about adventure. This inner adventure is rather puts all outer adventures in their place. And also almost immediately, from trying to pray as I thought I was meant to pray at school, God bless Mummy and Daddy, and a few other things that were in my mind. Suddenly I thought, wow, this is prayer. This is exactly what prayer is. So ever since, for me, prayer and meditation have been synonymous. One simply starts off verbally and then probably tails off into don't know what to say next. And along comes meditation. It lifts you into a new dimension, a higher dimension, where instead of talking to this rather nebulous whatever is its spirit, you suddenly realise it's this. It's this. Couldn't be more obvious. This what starts off as stillness, but becomes what one could call presence. It's ever with us presence. Wow, it is. I can't tell you what. Well, you can probably tell from the enthusiasm in my voice what a thrilling adventure it is. It's one of discovering what I now, with some confidence in my extreme old age, talk about all the love of God, the kingdom of God. So all this comes under the great word meditation, Mark. It gets bigger and bigger, doesn't it? The more one thinks about it.
So let me.
Very slight.
I mean, our conversation is moving in sort of spirals, I think, which is quite a meditative feeling. And let me spiral back just to this, because again, there's a part of me I think mishears that, like it's some sort of altered state of consciousness or some sort of peak experience or trip. But you're not saying that, I know as well, because I can feel it as we sit and talk. It's the presence that was here all along that has become more evident.
It's a totally natural process of opening, just like you open a gate a little bit to start with, just enough to squeeze through, and then you open it wider and wider, and the more you open it, wow, you could take a horse and cart through it, couldn't you? Open it into the infinite, and here you come unto this total welcome. Like the words of Jesus, come, come, my beloved. Which is what it's all about, really. Not the lost, us, lost sheep, are welcomed home. The gate is ever open, ever open. It's never been closed. It can't close. It's we ourselves that have turned away. This is the human conditioning that's all explained in the scripture. Man was started off in paradise, but then, so the story goes, he lost paradise and fell in consciousness to a lower state of consciousness, where he feels himself separate, lost to what he vaguely remembers as his father's house, sort of the prodigal son, and then this long process of gradually finding one's way back again. It's amazing how it's all explained in the Bible.
And can be so overlooked as well. These stories read in moral ways or in ways as if God is somehow other, reaching across the great abyss. I know. Whereas the way that you're talking about it, and again, you feel it.
Well, I've discovered it, Mark. I don't say it's happened straight away. I'm an old man. Look how long I've been practicing for. 62 years, every morning, every evening, twice a day. So I've packed a lot of meditation under my belt. And gradually, this has opened up so that I can talk so confidently about it in this way now. I'm not sure it can, seems to me, like any natural growth, it has its time and seasons. It can't be hastened. But I was told when I was first taught, advised about the necessity of, if I wish to benefit from it that needs practice. I've done that. I've been diligent in my practice. Started off with a quarter of an hour, night and morning, and gradually half an hour, and that was the recommended time, half an hour, night and morning. And now gradually, in my old age, I do more, but it's just me. I think it's just that gradual becoming accustomed to what is gradually revealed and opened up. I've not had many sort of big sensational, experiences that some people get excited about. No, I'm not one of those. I've had many little sort of mini openings, insights, which I've recorded in my books. But not a sudden life-changing revelation, really. I'm not sure how many. I think for most people it's long, patient plod, really. A lifetime's plod. Why else are we given 80 years in this life?